so many active devices, a remote control can be essential for everyday use. A remote can be used for anything from televisions to military usage. The term remote just means that you do not control your system manually. In order to fully understand the way remotes operate, you must realize that there are three different types of remotes: the infrared remote, the radio remote, and the satellite frequency remote. In this video, we will explain the tech of the remote control, innovation, and the usage of the remote control.
Nikola Tesla was the earliest example of remote control technology, modeled in 1898. Leonardo Tordos was the first creator of the telekineto, which was a remote control, battery-operated piece of technology that transmitted radio waves pairing between two different devices.
The first remote control airplane flew using remote control technology during World War II.
The physical mystery of remote control is different from other radio manufactured remote control because it is a radio-operated low-frequency transmitter, making it the first wireless remote control.
And now we will be discussing the innovations of the remote.
The first remote introduced to control a television was introduced by Zenith Radio Corporation in 1950. A wireless remote control, the Flashmatic, was developed in 1955 by Eugene Poley. In 1956, Robert Adler developed Zenith Space Command, a wireless remote. In 2006, Hillcrest Labs introduced the Loop Pointer, a remote control that used Hillcrest's free space motion control technology to allow users to their televisions with natural gestures. In the late 2000s to early 2010s, a number of smartphone and portable media player platforms were provided with installable software applications which allow for the remote control of media centers, media players, on home theater PCs, and general-purpose personal computers over Wi-Fi such as iTunes, remote on iOS.
Now we will be discussing the usage of the remote.
Yeah, we have three major usages of remote control, which are general usage, the industrial usage, and the military usage. The general usage of remote control are used in television and other consumer electronics, such as DVD players, to issue command from a distance. The second one is the industrial usage of remote control, which are used for controlling substations, pump storage, and power station plants. They are also used to control garage and gate in industries. The third ones are the military usage. They are used in military to detonate bombs in war. They are used in space travel so that many exploration rovers can be controlled. They are also used for satellite radio frequency. That's all.
Now we will be discussing the technologies of the remote control.
Today, remote control technology provides simple wireless control, automation, and telemetry to a wide variety of industry applications, including automated pump controls, wireless tactical airfield lightings, and remote control temperature monitoring. Anything that can be switched on or off or up or down is used with the same technology as remote control. Remote control technology is the global leader in the wireless industry today, providing unique applications focusing on engineering and integrated systems. Remote control technology has designed, manufactured, and supplied both customers on and off the shelf and products and services for consumers in a wide variety of domestic and international areas. Companies such as Boeing, Raytheon, the U.S. military, petroleum gas corporations, United States national parks, and research facilities all use remote control technology, including college students who use remote control technology on an everyday basis. The infrared remote control, such as the infrared remote control on this remote control, transmits, has a receiver and it transmits a binary code to another device. And it basically inputs a command for any given function. To get a better idea of how this process works, we will take a look at the remote control. And the main components of a remote control are the buttons, the integrated circuits, which is everything inside, the button contacts, which are beneath the button. So beyond the button is actually a sensor that these two areas must meet in order for the remote control to accept the command. Followed by the lighting, so the LEDs or the remote control. So some remote controls have LEDs, LEDs such as any infrared transmitters on the remote control. And on the component side, the infrared receiver sits on the front of the device and is easily attachable and sends a digital signal. You probably noticed that most remotes only work when you're close to the device that they're being transmitted to, and that's because of the infrared receiver. Some remotes can be in the same room, some remotes have to be in a closer distance, depending on the target. That's all.
Do you fully understand how a remote works?
I do not.
Okay. What is so complicated about the remote for you? What is the most complicated thing?
The most complicated is that I have several for several different things, and they all work differently. So it took a little time to get that worked out.
Okay. What new features have you taken advantage of since the newest update of remote control models?
None.
None. Okay. Is it your belief that today's remote controls are too complex for older generations to grasp?
Yes.
What makes them difficult?
The thing that makes them most difficult is that I think the applications aren't standardized, and that would make things infinitely easier.
Okay. Do you prefer a cable provided remote or a universal remote? And do you understand the difference between the two?
Cable remote, and what's the other?
Universal remote.
Universal remote. I prefer.
Okay. And why is that?
Because it would be easier. I would only need to learn one
That's true.
instrument.
Did you ever take into consideration to get a universal remote, or do you have one?
I do not.
Okay. What other remote control technology related devices do you use?
I have, I have a remote for my fireplace,
Oh.
and that works very well. I have one for my television sets, of course, both here and at University Park. I have, a telephone, and use that pretty much all the time. And I think that's basically all.
Okay, and what advice would you give anyone about a remote control?
To give to a user or to a developer or what?
Both.
To a user, I would say read the directions.
Okay.
And if you don't understand them, get someone who knows how to use it to show you how to do it.
Okay.
And
For the developer?
for the developer, I would say standardize, standardize, standardize.
Okay.
I think young people like you, students, have had the luxury of using all kinds of technology, but older people it takes a little longer because they're very afraid of it. There's a lot of resistance to technology by older generations because they're not used to it.
Okay.
Anything else I can help you with?
I don't believe so.
Could you elaborate a little bit on why it's harder for older generations to grasp onto new technology?
Well, I think they're overwhelmed by it. I don't think they can keep up with the changes, with the new reiterations. They just finally learn how to use one thing and it's replaced instantly. And while young people aren't afraid to try things, older people are because they have a fear that they're going to break something or that they're going to look stupid or any of those reasons. I think a lot of them are behavioral kinds of issues. So that's what I think the situation is. Now I can tell you that the literature indicates that older Americans, at least, are very comfortable with learning it once they've learned it, and they use the technology all the time. It's a wonderful vehicle as a social media for people who aren't able to get out a lot or do that or to buy things online, and that's all very positive. I think it's just the hands-on remote piece that's intimidating.
It can get difficult with all the different buttons and stuff.
Yes.
I
So that's all. Kirk,
David, I know the. Yeah, very well.
You're very welcome. It was
Thank you
my
so much.
pleasure.
And would you like to finish it off with the joke about the remote, the man joke? you said not to.
Oh, the man joke. Oh, I have 4 sons and I had a husband, and we had so many remotes, and that's why I'm so frustrated, because if you would sit down to either play a CD or do something, you never knew what remotes were what. But when you sat down with any of them, they constantly were changing channels, changing the kinds of things that they wanted to do, back and forth and back and forth. But I will tell you that during the Pirate playoff games, I did switch between the Steelers and the Pirate games, and I do the same thing now with hockey and football. So I learned from my boys.
That's okay.
Okay.
Because you did it. Thank you.
Thank you so
thank you
much.
very much.
Good to see you all.
Nice to see
Have
you.
a wonderful weekend.
Same to you.